In the April of 1998, a young 18-year-old me was a contestant on the British video game TV show Games World. One of the segments of the programme was playing a whack-a-mole type game that you controlled with a trackball. However, the way the props team designed the controller, the ball was on the right and the buttons were on the left. Being left-handed, I found this incredibly awkward to move, and needless to say, I didn't do very well. But that moment of frustration sparked a question in my brain that's been brewing ever since. In fact, it's probably the biggest question in video games that no one has ever asked. Why are joysticks always on the left? For years, like everyone else, I assumed that's just the way it is. Joystick on the left, buttons on the right. That's the norm for gaming. But surprisingly, this wasn't always the case. Early arcade machines either positioned the joystick on the right or used a more ambidextrous approach of having a stick in the middle and the same layout of buttons doubled on either side. Even early consoles were ambidextrous, though this was really more due to them adopting weird telephone-shaped controllers. However, the Atari 2600, with its single button at the rear left, was solely developed with right-handed gamers in mind, and with its unbridled popularity, almost made this the case for all future systems. So, with Atari's huge adoration and a speculated 75 to 95% of the planet being right-handed, why on earth would they change this? Well, amazingly, it's all down to one twist in arcade development that completely changed the future of gaming. You see, with the oncoming North American video game crash, arcade manufacturers were releasing less and less machines. The effect of this was, with nothing to replace them, arcades were holding on to the same games for longer, and their patrons were simply getting better and better at them. So ultimately resulting in less quarters going into these aging machines, causing a snowball effect of lost revenue for operators. But what to do? Arcade owners don't have the know-how to hack into a game and make it even harder, and difficulty dip switches on the arcade boards themselves were virtually non-existent at the time. However, thanks to a rather ingenious arcade owner, they came up with a solution that was simple, yet incredibly effective. Why not simply switch the joystick from the right side of the playfield to the left? I mean, all you need is some basic woodworking skills to accomplish this, and you've thereby artificially inflated the difficulty of every arcade game in your possession simply by messing with right-handed gamers' motor functioning skills. Now, there's no actual moment in history to pinpoint who or even when this happened, other than it first emerged around 1982-ish. But the concept swept like wildfire, first from arcade to arcade, and then from country to country. With the concept finally being adopted globally with the introduction of one-size-fits-all jammer cabinets in 1985, the rise of consoles and home computers following suit, the notion of joysticks being on the left was set in game in stone for the rest of time. Of course, there's been some exceptions over the years, such as twin-stick shooters like Robotron 2084 and Smash TV in arcades, and later the mass popularity of Geometry Wars on Xbox Live in 2003, creating a renaissance with the rediscovered controls. There's also plug-and-play units aimed at kids with sticks on the right, though ironically, Jakks Pacific decided it would be easier on children's motor skills having them laid out that way. If only they knew. But whatever way you look at it, left-handed joysticks are here to stay. To the point, the notion is so heavily ingrained in our gaming culture that there's a false assumption that you're left-handed if you ask for a right-handed stick to be built. So, if you're right-handed, the next time you pick up a joystick or a joypad, take a moment to reflect that your controller is solely built that way as some arcade owner from the 80s wanted to mess with your head just to make them more money. Hello you, thanks ever so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to be first to see future Fact Hunt episodes. click on the bell if you already are to make sure you're notified, and be sure to check out my other episodes. And if you want to be super awesome, check out my Patreon. But thanks again for watching, and I'll be seeing you next time. Ta-ra for now.